As a building code professional, I will never see my efforts as a form of control. I see my efforts as a partnership with the public that I serve. If you are considering building an accessory dwelling unit in California, this video series intends to equip you with information that will shed light on the ADU-JADU plan submittal, plan review, and inspections process, so stay with me. ADU laws in California trace back to 1982 when California's first second dwelling unit law was enacted. However, it was not successful in terms of what the law was trying to achieve, which was to encourage the development of second units. The second unit law was then amended in the preceding years, and each time chipping away at local government's second unit restrictions.
Senator Wieckowski.
Madam President and colleagues, this is the accessory dwelling units, which is our new definition for our granny units or second units. Now, although the legislature encourages ADU, and we've done that for decades, local ordinances have continuously deterred the construction of these units. This bill also tackles some of the onerous barriers created by local governments to deter the constructions of ADUs. This bill clarifies what is required in a local ADU ordinance and what happens should a local ordinance not meet the state standard.
And it was at this time that the development of ADUs began to gain momentum and popularity throughout California. Now, it is worth mentioning that ADU laws do not reduce or remove any of the building code requirements or any of the building permit submittal requirements. ADU laws primarily affect the planning department's zoning regulations. And to give you an idea, before modern ADU laws, if someone wanted to build an ADU, they would first have to submit to the planning department and go through what's called a discretionary review process. And the process could take up to 1 year or more, and before you can submit to the building department. So what modern ADU laws did was eliminate this discretionary review process for ADU permit submittals. In terms of how long a city or county have to approve an ADU submittal, ADU state law requires that as soon as the permitting agency receives a completed application for an ADU or JADU, that they must act on that application within 60 days. Now, the only caveat to that is if during the course of the review, the permitting agency determines that there is insufficient information on the submitted plans or documents, then in that case, the local jurisdiction will put together what's called plan review comments. And once plan review comments are issued to the applicant, then the 60-day clock stops, since that would be considered an action by the permitting agency. Now, an interesting thing is, let's say the permitting agency issues plan review comments within the 60 days, which 9 times out of 10 it happens. Currently, ADU law does not specify a time frame after the plans are resubmitted for recheck to the permitting agency. But it has been my experience that ADU resubmittals usually take an average of 2 weeks to recheck. However, keep in mind that the building permit and the approved set of plans are issued only after satisfying all the other permitting agencies' requirements. And although ADU state laws have made significant progress reducing local government ADU restrictions, you will find that city and county ADU requirements will vary throughout California. Well, the reason could be that ADU law historically allows local governments the flexibility to impose limited regulations to ADU developments. This may be due to cities and counties each having their unique characteristics and unique geographical challenges. Now, generally, cities and counties impose ADU regulations and restrictions through what is referred to as an ordinance, which, to sum up, is a process that involves public hearings, and only after the ordinance is ratified by the local elected officials, it then becomes the local law of the jurisdiction. And you can get involved in these processes by attending your local planning commission meetings, city council meetings, or board of supervisor meetings if you're in a county jurisdiction. And let your voice be heard through what is called the public comment period. But also look at it this way. If your state or local representatives hear nothing from you, then they may assume that there are no concerns.
But the issue that I have right now is a home that's gone in next door to me. They have gutted the home and they have put 7 bedrooms in the home. I can't tell you what they've done with the home is bringing down the value of my home. Cars that they have in front of the house are not only 7, but they could have 2 people in each bedroom. So there could be up to 14 cars for this one.
An interesting thing to note is that the state ADU law requires cities and counties to submit their ADU ordinance to the State of California Housing and Community Development Department, also known as HCD. HCD is the agency that is tasked with reviewing city and county's ADU ordinances to ensure they are in compliance with the ADU state law. And if HCD determines that the local jurisdiction's ordinance is not conforming to the ADU law, HCD will notify jurisdictions of any corrections that the jurisdiction must make before approving their ordinance.
Hi Jose, this is Philip over at Key Street. Regarding the ADU we are proposing, I was wondering, can we deviate and propose an ADU that is outside the local ADU ordinance parameters? Well, the reason I ask is our city's ADU ordinance allows for a one-story ADU, but we would like a two-story. And does an ADU ordinance mean that we cannot build anything other than what the local ADU ordinance states? I hope my question makes sense. Please call me when you get a chance. Talk to you soon.
You can actually propose to build an ADU that deviates from the local city or county's ADU ordinance. However, you could be subject to the regular process, which basically means that unfortunately you will not be able to take advantage of the incentives that are outlined by state law. But be sure to talk to your local planning department if you'd rather build outside of the local ADU ordinance. It is worth noting that the California ADU state law will sunset on January 1st of 2025. And what this means is that during this time, the ADU law will be revisited by the state legislatures to decide the fate of the ADU law. One scenario is if state legislators determine that cities and counties continue to place unreasonable restrictions on ADUs that are contrary to the intent of the state law, then the ADU law could once again be amended to further limit local government ADU restrictions. This concludes general information related to ADUs, which I trust should help pave the way for the upcoming core of this topic. So stay tuned and stay with me.